Good after Shabbat and a very happy Yom Yerushalayim to everyone. I want to thank our sponsors for this week, Eric and Sel Levine, the Inish Matzel's mother, Karen Levine, Chaya Bat Michala, Shoma's 19th year is today, and wishing them a mazel tov on the bar mitzvah tomorrow of their eldest grandson, Alon Levine. We're reading from a very special Sefer Torah, I'm told. Erica's father, whom I knew, Alav Shalom, was a Holocaust survivor, refused to use any money given to him by the Germans after the war. And after he died, the family used that money to commission a Sefer Torah in his memory. And from that Sefer Torah, Alone will be reading tomorrow. Gira be'ene de sitna, an arrow in Satan's eyes. A mouse of the entire family. Thank also Gilin Yitzhak sponsoring this week. Linishmat Yitz's extended maternal family murdered on this day in Auschwitz in 1944. Hashem Yikom Damam. And Li Nishmat Yitz's extended paternal family murdered Chavaviyar. And on this almost last day of Sivan, thank also our sponsors for this month, Chai Nalful, Le'ilishmat, their son Hillel, Al Shalom Ben Yaakov Sheyichya, and as a schut for the son Binyamin, fighting with our soldiers in Lebanon. And also thank Ellen and Peter Tilm, sponsor this month, as gratitude for the wonderful dedication of our soldiers as well. So Yom Yerushalayim, we begin a new Sedra Bamidbar, and the Torah begins with the census. Chumash Kudim, Kol Yotzei Tzava B'Yisrael. Anyone who goes out to service, mainly military service, over the age of 20, is to be counted. Why do we need a count? So Rashi says it's Keshabol Ashrot Shchinato Aleihem Minam. When God came to rest His presence upon us, that's when we're counted. In other words, there's this juxtaposition between the divine presence and the census of our military, and it's not accidental. It's amazing how controversies arise in Israel over stupidity. And here, just this week, well, a little background. The military passed a regulation a year ago banning patches because during the war it became very popular for soldiers to wear on their shoulders a Moshiach patch, a Beit HaMikdash patch, as a reminder for what they're fighting. Well, just the other day, the chief of staff, who has many things to his credit, but a lot to answer for October 7th, when he was the deputy chief of staff, had a soldier reprimanded and had his commander sentence him to 30 days in prison for wearing a Mashiach patch in violation of these new regulations. Well, it's strange. I understand there's an interest in having literally uniformity in the army. There should be some room for individual expression, but not much. And that was really the reasoning in a well-known U.S. Supreme Court case, Goldman versus Weinberger, that was decided almost exactly 30 years ago. Simcha Goldman was a captain in the Air Force, and he wore a yarmulke. Turned out that yarmulke was in violation of Air Force regulations. He was ordered to take it off. He refused. He sued Caspar Weinberger. The case went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 against him, that the military can ban soldiers from wearing kippot. Could such a thing happen in Israel? I wouldn't put it past anyone. That's how secular some secular people are, and they'll say, "Well, where does the Talmud really mention a yarmulke? It's barely referenced in the Shulchan Aruch, and we can't have that harming the cohesiveness of our troops. Some with, some without. It could happen in Israel too, God forbid." In any event, Congress had to pass a law in 1988 permitting religious apparel that is not that obtrusive, and so American soldiers can wear a kippah. What about a patch? So patch is not necessarily a kippah, but in theory the principle is the same as well. What are we fighting for? Are we fighting for land, which is really the secular approach, the Zamir approach? We're fighting for our land and our state, like Poles and Germans and Spaniards fight for their land and their state. Yes, we're fighting for our land, but not just that. You see from the Torah, we're fighting for Hashra'at Shechina. We're fighting so the divine presence rests upon us and the entire world. Yeah, we're fighting so the Beit HaMikdash should be rebuilt. We're fighting for Yerushalayim. Omdot hayu ragleinu b'sharayach Yerushalayim. Our feet are standing in Yerushalayim. Rashi says, La milchama, whenever we fight, we're fighting for Sharayach Yerushalayim, for the gates of Yerushalayim, because that's where the Torah is studied, and that's the place from which the Torah emerges. So yes, we're not fighting for a capital because it's a capital. We're fighting for Yerushalayim because Yerushalayim Ir HaKodesh. Yes, we're fighting for the Mashiach. We're fighting for the redemption to come. We're not fighting to protect this or that parcel of land as if that's the exclusive reason to fight. I mean, it occurred to me this week, so many Israelis take out dual citizenship from Poland, from Germany. That's what it is. Land territory. That's what we're fighting over. No, Eretz Yisrael is very valuable, but yeah, we're fighting for Moshiach. We're fighting for the Beit Hamikdash. We're fighting for the Geula. We're fighting for Hashrat Shechina. We're fighting so that the Dvar Hashem emerges from Yerushalayim to the rest of the world. If anything, I would mandate everybody had to wear a yarmulke. Everybody had to wear a Mikdash or Mashiach badge. Everyone in the army, because that is esprit de corps. That's morale. That's motivation. That's why we do what we do. That's why we suffer such losses, and we sacrifice what is most precious to us because of these badges. That he doesn't realize it is a stain on the. Talking about the chief of staff today. That's a stain on his record. But if we realize it and we see what the Torah says, we're counting Kol Yotzei Tzava B'Yisrael in order to bring about Hashrat Shechina. That's the message that we want our troops to have, that we want to reinforce to all of Israel. To one and all, Shabbat Shalom, Yom Yerushalayim Sameach, and Chodesh Tov.